Hi everyone, today I'm going to be doing some more Hoya example solves. I'll be focusing on cross edges only, but I'll be doing white and yellow neutral solves, so I'm including my third and fourth centre in this video as well, to show you how I work out which centre I'll end up as my cross colour. Okay, so here we go. This is what we've got first, and straight away I can see a lot of orange pieces. I've got this pattern with these in a diagonal and this extra one, and I can make into a T with this. And then I've got this other centre down here that I can make into a bar like that. Then I've got this piece here, and so I will quickly scan around, and there's actually nothing down here. So I'll rotate again. We've got our other two pieces here. And I know because we've got this, the block is on the left here, and the other centre was on the right, then I'm going to want to do an F2 here to have all of this, this right R-wide layer free as I'm building. And so as I'm about to insert this bar, I know that because orange is not one of my cross colours, I'm going to want to solve my fourth centre on the front if orange is on the bottom, and so that's going to be yellow. So I'm looking at the yellow pieces, and I can see already we've got big bar coming down. We've got most of our pieces here already. So I'm going to attach these two to this square, like this. Then we have our two remaining ones here and this one, so I can build them all into a block like this, and then insert them straight into the bottom. And what I can see while that's going on, I can see both of the orange wings, and they're both going to stay where they currently are. I've also got this blue piece, and this red piece, and this red piece. So there's a lot to work with here. So I think I'm going to go with orange first, just because I saw that none of those pieces would move. And I'm going to, instead of doing an F2 to insert this down to here, I'm going to do an L2 because that's more ergonomic. So then we just have this piece now that I've just seen. It came from the back slot, and we have this. And I think even though we don't have any other cross edges solved at the minute, the best thing I can do is the same solution that I would if this were a last cross edge case. And so what I would do here is I would put this wing in the back and then do an F to set up these two pieces to 3R wide U2, 3R wide prime, and then I'm going to cancel into inserting this piece like that. So next I can see blue. I've got this piece here and this piece here. I can't see the other one straight away, but this I can see is aligned relative to orange, so I'm going to solve that one first and then bring it to the front. Our other piece is down here, and it's misoriented, and I can see the midge is oriented, so I'm just going to bring this piece straight to the U layer, and now I can set these two up opposite each other and ready for a 3-move insertion. Then we've got red again, it's above the slot where it needs to go relative to blue, and we've got this piece which is currently 4 moves away. And I can't see the other red piece still, so I'm assuming it's going to be in a back slot. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and insert this straight away, because generally speaking, if you have a midge solved and both the wings are unsolved and one of the wings is like 3 or 4 moves away in the U layer, then it's pretty fine to just insert one piece at a time, because whatever you have with the other wing in the back slot is always going to be, there's always going to be a 5-move solution. So for this case, we've got this one oriented, and we can use the R wide 2 trick to insert it. Then finally, we've got these 3 pieces here, and it might be tempting to insert one of these two straight away with a D move and then an F2, or, you know, insert that, whatever. But what I can see from this angle is if I were to insert this piece first, then I know a really nice way to solve this case. And one of the angles that you can do this case from is when these two pieces are in the back. And to get them in the back, you can do a U2, and a U2 will also put this piece on this side above our open slot. So I'm going to do a U2 first, then insert this piece onto the left, like that, then bring it to the front. And now I don't have to do any more setup moves to solve this case, which I can do by inserting this wing and then cancelling into the midge. Just like that, and we've got cross edges done. Okay, next up there's this. And the first thing I saw was this pattern on yellow, and it doesn't look great immediately, but I know a really nice way to solve it if I have another 2x1 bar, a bit like this if this was yellow. And I can see I've got one center here, so I'm going to quickly check down here, and I can use this to make that kind of bar. So I've got this, and now I'm going to solve all of these 6 pieces into a 2x3 bar at the same time. So the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to insert this up to here, and that's going to put this corner center here to make another sort of 2x1 here, like that. And now I can solve these two relative to this square. And I know from before that I have another yellow centerpiece on the bottom. As far as I'm aware, it's only the one, and I can see there's nothing on the front. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rotate this way to get a better view of my other pieces, which are here. And I've obviously got my empty slot on the right, so I'm going to align these pieces like this to make use of it when I pair them up, like that. And now before I do this, because I know that my third center is yellow, which is one of my cross colors, then I'm going to want to solve not this center on front next, because then I'll have to do a Y2, but I want to solve this center relative to yellow. So I'm going to try and solve this in a way that will minimize the number of rotations that I have to do. And so what I can do is the normal solution to make a bar with these three pieces like this. And then here, so that I've got a bit of a better view, I'm going to sort of do this U prime sort of almost as a B prime and the same time as a rotation. And then I'm going to bring this block to the back like that. So now I've immediately got orange on the top and I can get straight onto building this center. And so here I can make a square with these two pieces and these two pieces. And there's a couple of ways I could do it. I could do a U2 and then insert the bar up here. But that leaves these two centerpieces on the same center. That's not amazing. Whereas what you can do instead is insert this bar directly up to here, L wide, F2, L wide prime, like that. And that takes these centers out. So that's what I would do. So then looking down here, we've got the rest of our pieces. And what I'll do, because I don't really want to have to do a slice move to make a bar here if I don't need to, what I'll do is I'll pair this up with one of these two centers. So I can do this and then insert this bar to the top again, which I'll do like that. Then putting the empty slot on the right, I can solve these pieces. I can make them into a bar like that. And then while I insert them into the back, I'll be checking around for some other pieces. I can see I've got these two orange pieces. And because I'm going to do an R wide 2 when I insert this bar, they're going to go down here and they're not going to be affected by this F2. So I'll be tracking those orange pieces and I know they're not going to move from where they were before. So what I can do here then is just immediately solve this orange wing into the right because I don't want to do an F2. Now I have these two pieces here. And so here, one of the last cross edge solutions that I use would be to insert one of these two pieces with the slice move to keep the other one in the U layer and in the same orientation. But what we can do here, because we have no other pieces solved, we can just insert one as normal with just regular wide moves. And then because there's nothing to preserve down here, we can just do one move to bring it back into the U layer and insert it in 3 more moves. So doing that, I saw these two red pieces and the other one's down here. And so here, because I can see that this piece is not in the correct slot relative to orange, what I'm going to want to do is bring it up just to the front like this. But before I do that, I can notice that this wing is oriented and this one's misoriented. So if I were to just do this, then I get this pattern, which is not the best case to deal with, but instead I can move this to opposite to where this wing's going to be when I move this edge up. And so that will leave me with a 4-mover pattern. So that's definitely a lot nicer. So I'll do that. I'll put this one over here, bring this one up opposite it. So we've got these two now. And then by doing a D2 and an F prime to solve the midge, these two are not going to get affected and I just have a 4-mover. So now, as I was doing that, I did see this green wing going into the back. And I can also see that this midge is solved relative to red. So I can just solve it in 1 move like that. And before I go into solving this piece, I'm going to want to look for my other one because I don't know where it is at the minute. And it turns out it's down here and it's oriented and it's in the wrong slot. So here, in this case, I can just bring it up to the U layer in an R2. And I know from this position that if I were to insert this wing in the normal way, this wing is going to get flipped. So although it's slightly longer than the 4-mover solution, I think it's got nicer ergonomics and doesn't need any regrips. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll bring this midge up to the U layer. Even though it's not opposite, when I insert this, it's going to get flipped like that. And then I know this piece is here and I can insert it straight away. Then finally we have blue. We've got these two wings here straight away and our other one's down here. And what I can do is I will insert one of these two pieces without changing the orientation of the other one because we want a misoriented wing. Those are good. And so I'm going to want to do this one because if I insert this one from here, as you can see, this wing is going to get flipped and that's not very good. But if I put this one on the left and insert it, then the other one will be preserved in the back. And what I can also see by doing that is that this midge is going to come up to here, and after that happens it will be oriented. So we can do a really nice 2-gen setup with this piece and this piece to 3R wide U2 3R wide prime, like that. Okay, so up next we've got this. The obvious thing to go for here is blue. I can make a square in just one move, and instead of doing an R wide prime to make the square, because that'll only show me 3 more pieces that will come up from the back, what I'll do is a 3L wide prime, because that will show me 6 more pieces, well 5 because I know the center's not going to be there, but it will show me more pieces to come up from the bottom, so I'll get more visibility like that. And as it happens, this happened to make a block, which is really nice, and I can see that, so I'm going to go ahead straight away and insert it into the top. Then we've got this piece, and there's actually nothing else on this front side. So what I'm going to do, because I know from before that this block is on the left and we have an empty slot here, I'm going to leave this edge in this right hand layer, and then I'm going to rotate it down to here so that I can see what I'm doing. Then we have these 2 pieces, so what I can do is just put them on the left like that, and then bring this edge up here, and now I can insert them all into the right like this. And then from here, because I know the blue is not one of my cross color centers, I'm going to put it on the bottom and then solve whatever center is on the front, and as you can see in this case that's white. So I'll be rotating down like that. I can see these 4 white pieces. I can make it into a square like that. Then I have these 2 and these 2, and I can make another 2x1 to put down here. I can do these 2 pieces, and I'm going to cancel to doing that, and then insert with an R wide 2. As I'm doing that, I see these 3 almost ready to be made into the next bar. So align the slot and then do that. And again, I'm going to be tracking these 2 blue pieces because I saw them relative to each other. They look quite nice. And I know they're going to end up on the front when I insert this, because they're going to go to the back when I do that second R wide move, then a U2, and then R wide 2 is going to bring them down to the front. So here I can see the other piece up here and it's oriented. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve the wing first, because I think this case is slightly nicer than the one where the wing is flipped and the midge is solved. So here I can just pair these in the U layer like this and then insert them, and as I'm doing that I can see all of my red pieces, which is nice. So I'm just going to go ahead, solve this one, and when I do an F move that's going to flip this piece, so I can bring it straight to the U layer. Now normally if I would see this position, these 2 wings, I might not just insert this in the normal way because that flips this green wing and then it becomes oriented. But because we're only on our second cross edge, I don't think that matters too much right now. And I know that green is going to end up over here. It's going to be above its slot. So if I need to, I can just do an R2 and that will solve it. So actually in this case, the other 2 green pieces are already in the slot down here. And so this case is just the mirror of one we just had, and that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to solve them in the same way, pair them in the U layer, then insert the block. I can see this orange piece came out from the slot, so it's in the U layer now, and I can see the other one is back here. And so I can't see the piece in this slot down here. I can't see it in the U layer, it's not in the front, and I can tell that it's not going to be this piece in the back because it's got green on, so that's not the one we want. So I know just from deduction, without having to check the back slot, I know that this is the piece that I'm going to want to use. I know that this is the final cross piece. And I can tell it's going to be oriented because orange is on the side, which means white is on the back. And so what I can do here, there's a couple of options. I can either insert this piece and leave this in the U layer and then take this out at the same time. And something like that would look like that to insert this piece. This is on the left. I know the other piece is on the right, so I can take it out like that. Don't even need to undo this move yet. I can insert like that, which is a bit nicer for grip, and then solve that edge. The other thing I could do to solve a piece in the back first, which is probably a better solution overall, to solve this one first, I would do, instead of just an L, I would do an L2 and then the F prime. And then I would put this back in the U layer because I know it was in the U layer to start with, so I can just undo the L2 straight away. And now I have this piece again and it's opposite, so just bring it to the U layer and then insert with 3 moves. All right, so here we've got a lot of white pieces, and so what I can do, I can make a T shape by connecting this center to this bar here, like that, and then just bringing this bar and this center down to make the T on the front. And I saw this piece wasn't really going to get moved around that much, but as I was bringing that down, I saw this piece as well. So instead of using this, I'm just going to use this to expand to a 2x3, and I know this is here. So I rotate up, I can see this piece as well. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that down, do an F2 to line up with the empty slot on the right. And then I know the last piece is going to be on the back, so I can rotate here. And now what I'm going to do, because white is my third center and that will be my cross color, I know that if I solved white onto the back, then my fourth center will be whatever color is on the top, which in this case is red. And I can see a lot of red pieces already. So I'm not going to rotate at all when I solve this final bar, because I now know where all of the pieces are and where they need to go. So this will connect with the 2 on the bottom with an R wide 2. And then I need to do a D to align them correctly, and then another R wide prime to insert to the back. And I'll show you we have the center solved. Next, with red, we have this nice pattern here. We've got a 2x1 here, and then 2 edges and this corner center up here. And I can solve those all at the same time with this to make the square up here and this bar, and then position that relative to make a 2x3. Now, as I'm doing that, I can see this block of pieces, which is quite nice, and it's on the empty slot side, so it might get disturbed by building the last bar. So what I'm going to do is just put it here, adjacent to the white center, which is already solved, because I know that's not going to get broken up. And actually I can also see the same thing here. We've got 2 green pieces that I don't want to break when I'm building my last bar, so I'll just put them to the side like that. And now what I can do is, it's a bit longer, but I can make all of this bar and insert it all 2 gen. So I'm going to pair up these 2 pieces like that, and then I can pair up these 2 with the last one to make the bar, and then insert it straight into the back. And I know from before that these red pieces are already down here. So what I'm going to do, because I can see the other one, which is quite nice, I'm going to solve that one first with an F prime, and then bring these to the top because they're misoriented, which means they'll be able to be inserted in just 3 moves. And obviously those green are going to stay in the front, so I can do a D move. And here, actually, if I'd noticed this, which I hope I would, before just doing an F prime move to solve those 2 green pieces, I'm going to want to flip this and put it in the U layer, which I can do by doing an R first, and then the F prime, because that misorients it. So now I can insert it straight away. Then next up we have 2 orange wings down here, and the midge is here. And the midge is oriented, which is great, and both of the wings are misoriented. And we can set this one up opposite in the U layer, like that. And that means this is now really easy to solve down the bottom. And then we just have 3L wide prime U2, 3L wide. So finally, we've got a pretty decent case here. We've got our midge solved and the wing is flipped, and this subset is quite nice. Wherever the last edge happens to be, they're all pretty consistent. And in this case, the last wing is in the back and it's misoriented. So I'm going to want to bring it to the front, literally just take it out like that. And now we have this case. And here, because I can see that blue is going to need to go on the right, I'm not going to do the regular solution where I end with an F2 to put this back in here, because the edge is going to get built into the U layer. So instead of doing an F2, which is a bit awkward to do, I'm just going to put it directly above the blue center so that I can do a D move and then an R2, and that's going to be a lot more ergonomic. So here I can move this down here to pair this up, and then do an F2, and then a double move to bring this to the U layer. And now here I'll do a U prime and then finish, and then I can just do a D and an R2 to solve and line my cross edges. Okay, last one for this video, and straight away I can see a few pieces on white which look interesting and a few pieces on orange. And in this case I'm probably going to go with white because I can actually see that I can make these 2 and these 2 into 2 separate bars. So I'm going to put these opposite each other. I'm going to move this one down to here like that, and then I'm going to align them with the other 2 white pieces like that. And what I know already, because I'm doing white as my third center, I know that I'm going to want to put it on, for example, the back, and then solve whatever center is here relative to it. And so I can see that because this is yellow, currently this very centerpiece, the white center is going to be on the bottom. And so when I move that up, red will be on top. So red will not be my next center color, it'll be orange. And so because of that, I'm actually going to preserve these bars here because they could be nice, and then rotate up. And actually I've got a really nice case here where I can just insert this bar with one slice move like that, and then rotate, and I've got orange on top now, which will be my next center. And I know that I've preserved the remaining 2 bars because there was 1 bar of 3 and 1 bar of 2 on the bottom, and I can see the other 4 pieces up here. So this is going to be a really efficient 4th center. Just to check, yep, so we've got this bar of 3 here, this bar of 2 here, and this bar of 2 is actually perfectly positioned where I can make a square in a slice move and then do a U2 and then undo the slice to build a 2x3 all in one go. So like that. And then I know the last bar's down on the left, so I'm going to do a sort of a combination because I want orange to be on the back eventually. I'm going to do like a 3L wide prime move and then an R wide prime move, sort of cancelled into each other, and then an F2 and then an R wide 2 to finish with white on the bottom. Now, as I was doing that, I did see this blue midge, and I've got this piece and this piece here as well. And so what I'll do is I'll just bring it straight back up to the U layer, because these two are now opposite, and they're in the wrong orientations to be set up to 3R wide U2, 3R wide prime, or a variation. But we can still solve them relative to each other in a decent solution. So I'll bring this one to the front, and then bring this other wing into the same slice, and then I'm going to pair them up with L wide prime U2 L wide like that, and then insert these down to here as a block. As I'm doing that, I can notice this wing, this orange wing, and we've got the midge here, and the other one's down here. And this one is not solved relative to blue, so I'm going to solve this one first, and then bring the midge to the U layer. And then if I align this to the front and this to the front, I now have this case with these 2 pieces, which I can set up to a 3R wide U2, 3R wide prime variant with F prime U2 F. So as you can see, that's put this one misoriented in the back and preserved the position of these 2, so I can insert them in 3 moves. Now I would probably move on to red because I can see both of these 2 pieces here, and I don't want to insert this one first because this one won't get affected and it's not in a great position right now. So I'll insert this one first, and that has the added bonus of moving this to the U layer, which is always a good thing. So I'll do that, and then I have this piece as well, which is in a back slot, and it's oriented. So what I can do here, I know that if I just bring it to the U layer again, now we have this case, and this case is actually quite nice, despite the wing being oriented and the midge being misoriented. What I can do here is I can do an R wide U R wide prime to make this block in the U layer, and now these 2 are just set up, ready to again built into a block like this. I can bring them down, and then they're just an F move away from being solved. So now we have this green midge, so I'm going to solve that straight away because it's above the slot. Bring it to the front, and then our last 2 pieces are back here. And this is quite an interesting case. So we're obviously going to want to set up to these 2 pieces in the front because that's going to be a 4 mover. But what we can actually do is, starting from home grip, this is definitely just a case that's optimized for finger tricks because the solution is going to be fairly intuitive. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring them to the U layer with L U prime, so they're ready here. But instead of doing an L prime, again to fix this cross edge first, we're going to take advantage of our thumb being on the bottom, because we need one thumb on bottom to execute this trick perfectly, so that we can do double flicks with both hands. So from here, again, we've got L U prime like that, and without taking our thumb off the bottom, we're going to do R wide prime, F2, R wide, F2 like that, alternating which hand I do the F2 flicks with, and then finally I can finish with the L prime. So I hope you learned something from this video. I hope it helps. As always, keep doing lots of untimed solves to try and implement these techniques into your own solves. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching.